Alright, you guys, so we're going to be practicing labeling mixed numbers with the models. So I'm going to show you a model with area model first and explain how to do it, and then we'll try to do a number line as well. So if we look at an area model or region model, it's going to be circles, triangles, squares, but they're going to be evenly divided. And we're going to look at the shaded spots today. So we want to label this fraction. So when we label it, we're going to do the mixed number first today. So if we're doing a mixed number, that means there's going to be a whole number. So a mixed number would be a whole number and a fraction. So a mixed number has a whole number and a fraction. So we want to make sure when we make our mixed number that it has both parts and that we label it correctly. So the whole number always goes in the front and the fraction always goes behind the whole number. I'm just going to put the number sign because I don't want to write it out. So this is what a mixed number will look like. So make sure when you label your mixed number part, it looks like this. So the first thing we're going to do is count how many holes we have. So a hole is when the whole thing is shaded in. So we have 1, 2. So we have 2 holes. So our whole number is going to be 2. Now we're going to look at what we have left. So we have one circle left that's not a hole. If we look at that circle, we got to figure out the denominator. The denominator is the number on the bottom. It's going to have however many parts there are. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So my denominator is going to be 4. My numerator, so the number on top, is going to be how many are shaded. So we're going to look at this circle and we're going to see that there's 1 shaded. So my numerator is 1. So my mixed number for this model is 2 and 1/4. So I have my whole number, which is 2, and my fraction, which is 1/4. So this model is 2 and 1/4. Let's go ahead and try another one. I'm going to try to draw one really quickly for you guys because I don't have any more ready to go. So let's look at another one. I'm trying to make them as even as possible for you guys. I'm just going to put little scribbles in the ones that I want to shade in whole. Alright, so I shade this one a little bit differently, so it's a little bit more tough, but we are going to label it as a mixed number. So we see that each square has 2 parts, right? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. To make it a whole, it has to be shaded all together with 2 parts. So there's one of them, but the trick here is that there's 2 halves. So if I move this half over to here, this one would be a whole too. So these 2 together is going to make a whole. So now I have 2 holes, and now I got to figure out what's left. So if I look at this one, I have 1, 2. So my denominator is going to be 2 because the denominator, which is the bottom number, is how many parts I have. So I have 2. Now I'm going to look at the shaded part. So I have, out of my 2, I have 1 that is shaded. So I have 2 and 1/2. So that's how we're going to label our mixed numbers. Let's try to do one on a number line really quickly. A little bit harder since I have to draw it. That's okay. My number line is really not that even, but it's okay. So if we have it on a number line, they're going to label whatever is marked. So let's say I have right here marked. So this is the fraction I want to figure out, the mixed number. So my first thing is to figure out how many parts are in each hole. So we know that the holes are going to end on the whole number. So there's 1 hole, 2 hole, 3 holes, and this would be the 4th hole. Now our fraction doesn't go to the 4th hole, but that would equal a 4th hole. So now we're going to figure out how many parts there are. So when we're looking at a number line, we have to count. So there's 1/3, there's 1, 2, 3. So there's 3 parts in this number line that make a whole. So 1/3, 2/3, I'm trying to draw that, and then 1 whole, which is also equivalent to 3/3. So that means each of these are going to be in the thirds. So if I look again, I have 1, 2, 3. So instead of this just being 1/3, it's going to be 1 and 1/3 because we passed the whole mark. So it'll be 1 and 2/3. And then it would be 2. And then 2 and 1/3. My second one would be 2 and 2/3. My last one would be 3. So then I have 3 and 1/3. Then I have 3 and 2/3. And then 4. So now my thing is just to look where my dot is after I label my number line and figure out what it ends on. So I'm going down. So I see it's after the 3. So my whole number is going to be 3. And it's the first line, and I labeled it already. So it's 3 and 1/3. So the important thing is when you're looking at a number line that you count how many parts there are. All right. There are some IXLs that'll help students with this, so please go on IXL when you have time, when they're just sitting at home and they have nothing else to do. They'll be very helpful to help them strengthen their skills with fractions because fractions is a big part of 3rd grade. So please let me know if you guys have any questions.